Welcome back, everyone, to Merge Conflict. I just got my braces tightened and they really hurt, Frank. Oh my gosh.
Oh, the misery. Anyone who's just had braces just had sympathetic shivers go down their back. We all know your pain, James. We're sorry. Hope the applesauce tastes good.
This is the first time that they told me that I should take Advil or Tylenol
We're
today. They're
really
like,
cranking down on you, buddy. I mean, I twisted that screwdriver a lot.
so so on the top teeth, this is the third thickness that they put
Okay.
on it. And they're like, this is going to be bad on your top. And then on the bottom, it's the same thinness of the original,
Rubber band.
but
Okay.
no rubber bands yet.
The
Not yet.
wire. The wire.
The wire. But I have this tooth, and the reason is like one of the tooth was getting pushed back. So what they had to do first is they had to like make room. So they put in a spring, and so it's been 4 months of them making room to be able to get to engage that one. So literally, like the wire is like bent in. Like I can't even get floss through it. So it's now pulling that tooth forward, and they're like, you're gonna see real good movement. And I was like, cool, let's do this. So it's happening.
I'm sorry, James. Well, it'll be worth it in the end, hopefully, but I'm sorry. That sounds horrific.
We'll see.
I had a late baby tooth until I was 16, one of my eye teeth. And they had to put braces on and drag that sucker down.
Wow.
And boy, that was a couple years of pain pulling that tooth down because the little baby tooth was quite happy sticking around.
Doing its thing. Yeah, it'll be fine. I know it'll be this, but I did literally just like drink some water and some coffee. And I was like, oh, I can even feel that. Because like right now the teeth are they're like in the mode, which is like things are happening, hypersensitivity mode. I know in a day or two it'll be okay. But today it's like on. But I'm still good. I think I can talk through it. We'll see how it goes.
We will talk about happy things, light thoughts, good things, the joy. We will make you so happy you'll forget all about your miserable teeth.
Well, I'm excited because I watched the MKBHD iPhone 16 and 16 Pro review video. And in that video, he didn't really necessarily touch too much on iOS 18 or Apple Intelligence. So I think today we can fill that MKBHD gap and talk a little bit about iOS 18, a little bit about Apple Intelligence in the lightning topics, which is going to be kind of not lightning topic-y. It's okay. I really want to talk about two topics, which is iOS 18 and Apple Intelligence, because I promised you I was going to upgrade to iOS 18, and I did. It's on my phone. It's on there. It's been a few days.
Topic one. What phones were you able to get iOS 18 onto, James?
Two phones. I have it on my iPhone, my work phone, which is an iPhone SE second generation.
That puppy's looking old. Love it.
It's got a button. It's got a physical button on it. So it's good.
Everyone just listening, it has a button. So that's how old it is.
If it has a button, it's old. And then I also have it on my iPhone 11 Pro, which is on there. Now, for the iPad.
Beautiful device.
I don't know what my other iPad is. I don't know if it can get it or not. I guess I have to go into find
I don't want to raise alarms, but I did hear a little rumor that there was a little bit of trouble going around with some of the M series iPad upgrades. So I think everyone maybe hold off for the point release or something like that. Or I got a little bit nervous, and honestly, I hate to spread rumors because I only read like the headline, but I heard there was a little trouble with the M1 iPad or M series iPads.
Well, and even talking about upgrades, which is our first topic, while we're talking about iOS and iPadOS, Sequoia is in a whole bunch of hot topics. I saw on Tech Meme Ride Home, he was reporting that a bunch of companies are saying don't upgrade, especially if you're like in the enterprise, because a bunch of their software and the network stack changes are there. Additionally, for developers, be on guard, because for Sequoia, you can only install Xcode 16 on Sequoia, and it's really, you actually can't install Xcode 15.4, which is currently required for .NET MAUI development, on Sequoia. So basically don't upgrade. You know what I mean? You can, I think, work around by installing the Sequoia command line tools. I don't know. It gets real funky. You know what I mean? So right now, as of recording in September, it's there. There's a GitHub issue, I think, with some workarounds and some things to do
Yeah,
on it. But man, Apple really like this is the weirdest fall in here. Like if you scroll through iOS 18, like one Apple Intelligence isn't there. Even on this iOS 18 page, it's all like the Mail app coming later this year for like updates of categorization. Like I finished out like they needed a few more sprints. I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
I'm just saying this yearly release cycle for an OS is stupid. It's just, a year sounds like a lot of time, but you've worked in big business. It's hard to get things done in a year. Especially for a massive product.
Yeah.
So I don't want to sound like a complete fanboy, even though I am. But a year's so short to get like big projects done. So what you do is what they do. You do the mid-cycle release, but they can't mid-cycle intelligence. They've been promoting intelligence too long. So intelligence is coming soon. It's probably going to be within the next month or so. But yeah, it was okay. I want to get back to you upgrading your devices, but I will say Sequoia has its problems. But as a dev machine, I have been using it. It is mostly fine. I've been able to cheat a little bit and actually get Xcode to work the way I want and
Oh,
be
cool.
able to test my apps. But I don't recommend it. We do need to get like some MAUI updates and things like that rolling out. Um, that's funny. I didn't know the networking stack changed that much, but there are a few. For the most part, everything's been fine on Sequoia. But every so often you run into something like, huh, strange. So I wonder if it
Yeah.
is that networking stack related.
I honestly also on iOS 18, there's been a lot of, that's weird. Like
Yeah.
my icons seem to be changing colors randomly, and then backgrounds and other things seem to be changing at weird intervals, and other odd just refreshing and animation things like the hidden apps. Well, let's get into iOS 18
Okay,
topic 2.
let's do this. Topic two, the home screen. How do you feel about tinted icons? Wait, I want your opinion from a user's perspective and a dev, because you know we gotta get into this as a dev. How do you
Uh,
feel about tinted icons, dark mode? Give it to me, large icons. How do you feel?
I hate it all, kind of.
Yeah.
I changed it just to be light mode all the time. Like, don't change my icons. I would say this is because the dark mode icons like don't look very good. Like some do, but then some don't. Like the settings icon, terrible. You know what I mean? Like even YouTube doesn't look good with the red. You know, it's like I don't know if you can specify different colors or what you can do inside of it, but like I think by default, if you just don't have a background, then it just uses the default like black color or gray color. It just doesn't look good because apps aren't 100% there. My apps aren't because I have a background color set. The same thing for like Snapchat doesn't look good. And with tinted colors, also looks terrible. Like it just doesn't, they don't look good in my personal opinion. So I didn't do that. That being said, there is a cool setting in the customization of the edit. And then you say customize. There's, I do like large. I'm going to have like, I think that's cool for like myself
I
and
want to
for
talk
like
about that.
parents.
Yeah.
But also there's a button. It's unmarked. It's an unmarked button in the top left,
Mm-hmm.
which is like
Mm-hmm.
kind of tint the background. So like your icons stick out more. I like that button a lot. I don't know what that button is, but I like it.
Oh, you know what that button is? That is
What?
a disagreement and a meeting that never got resolved all the way to the very end of iOS 18. Because what
Yeah.
that button really is, when you enter dark mode, it obviously darkens most of the UI, but it also darkens your background. And
Oh.
depending on how you feel about that, you're like, well, that's my background. Don't you darken my background. That's my background. And so you can see this internal debate at Apple, like, do we darken the background or not? And they couldn't decide. So there's a tiny button in the upper left that you have no idea what it does until you play with it and you got to think it through. But all you're doing is resolving Apple's internal argument of whether they should darken the background or not while in dark mode. The answer is no, it's my background. Don't you change my background.
Oh my goodness. It's true. I do think that when you're in light mode, like actually having it normal is fine. But yeah, that's really fascinating. Yeah, I've mostly for my for my homepage, I've left everything the default. I've left small with
Yeah.
the words on. I haven't resized any icons. I haven't done anything to my widgets. Um, I haven't
Okay.
customized any
That's
of
sad.
my control. I will say this: the
No
control,
honeymoon.
the control. What's the control center? It's
Yeah.
very colorful now, which I actually like,
Yeah.
and lots of cool animations. And I really like the new different like airdrop and Wi-Fi settings and cellular things. Lots of color. I haven't customized anything. It's kind of cool that you can scroll and like see music stuff and other stuff. That seems kind of
Let me
cool, but
interrupt you before
yeah,
I forget things I want to say because I wanted your impressions, and I'm a little sad that you're not going through like a little honeymoon phase of trying out the features for a longer period because, like you, I had the same reaction. I didn't actually like any of the customizations, but I tried them out
yeah.
for 2 weeks. I ran tinted yellow. I was trying to have like future
All
phone.
right,
Thought it'd be
I like that.
cool, like sci-fi
Mm,
phone. But like you said, the tinting is not great, the way they've
no,
implemented it. And worse than that, if you have widgets on your screen, it doesn't tint the widget.
no,
So you're going for this uniformity of color, but you can't achieve it because your stupid widgets don't get tinted. So that was a debate in the office that either never no one brought up or never got resolved either. That's annoying. So I did tinted for about 2 weeks, got tired of it. I tried large icons, but it turns out icons these days are not iconic in that I can actually find the app that I want
yeah,
based solely on the icon. I didn't realize how much I relied on app names to actually for visually search and find the name because
yeah.
our eyes are really good at finding words and our attention's drawn to it. Turns out my eyes are much faster at finding words than icons. And so large icons didn't even last as long as tint mode for me.
One of my favorite features of Tint, though, is they added an eyedropper selector. Did you try the eyedropper? That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. That when it doesn't crash, so that's pretty nice.
Oh, well, I gotta tell you, that feature used to crash all the time in the beta. So I was playing with it in the release version. I'm like, don't crash. And it never crashed out of it. Yeah, that was a rough feature in the early days.
Yeah, I will try playing. It's only been a few days, so maybe I'll go and I'll actually try different things. I should resize things and I should have more home screens. I'm just a simple guy. But
Yeah.
I do agree that I have the fitness widget on the home screen and I really don't like what it will do is it doesn't really tint the icon, but it makes all the text white and everything else white. So then like it's kind of glaring at you as well. So I think it's a noble first attempt and it's a hard thing to do, right? You're
hmm
trying to literally
Yep.
override the colors of every single thing on the screen. It's not easy. I'm just saying. But yeah.
And I will applaud their adding user customization to the OS. Like, thank you. I didn't know
Yeah.
you didn't do a great job, but thank you for letting us set something, have some control over the home screen. And in general, there. I like that you brought up the colors from the control center because there are more colors throughout the
Yeah.
OS. So that's nice. Thanks,
Your
Apple. Color, it's good.
your so that's the thing is like your eyes are drawn to words, colors, and location of
Mhm.
things, right? And the iconography. So I think that that extra visual cue is very helpful. Just like you're saying, the words on the small icons are helpful, right? I agree with that.
Mhm.
And I always felt like sometimes in Control Center I was a little lost, where actually like some of the visual indicators like are really
Yeah.
helping quite a bit, which is
Now you can
cool.
remember, look for the yellow thing wherever it is because
Exactly.
there's so many things on the control center now. You're like, where's the yellow thing?
Exactly. I would say this, and then I haven't used the. Have you used the drag the app icons anywhere like Android yet?
Yes, I very much so, and I really appreciate that one because I like to have a dead zone at the
Mm,
bottom of my phone. So honestly, I forgot that was an iOS 18 feature because I adopted that day one and have never looked back. It's wonderful finally having, because what it used to be was like a flowed list and it would
yeah.
wrap and do all sorts of crazy stuff. Now it's basically a grid. It still does weird wrapping stuff when you're repositioning, but mostly you can get things locked into place where you want them and be happy. Definite improvement.
I I wonder if under the hood they actually just have like blank, empty icons. You know what I mean? Like it's there. It's
I
like
hope
there.
not. Please tell me no. Please tell me you
It'd be
redid your
fascinating.
layout engine.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
hope
assume
so,
they
but it's not anywhere on the screen. It's still in the grid, just anywhere in the grid.
well, Apple would never allow pixel misaligned icons, even though literally everyone's desktop on their Mac has pixel misaligned icons everywhere.
That's true. Yeah, I do like
Can you
it.
do
The
that
other thing
on
I've been using.
Android? You can literally position them pixel by pixel. No,
No, I
still
think they have
some
to
grid.
be. I'm sure some launcher lets you do it. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, the other thing I've been using talking about apps and app icons is the hidden apps. Have you used locked in hidden apps at all?
No, I got a little bit confused because there's the apps that aren't on the home screen, and I thought that's what the hidden apps were. But no, is it just password protected apps? That's as far as I could find. But please tell me more about them. Should I use them?
Yeah, so two modes. So the first mode in general is if you long press on an app, you can say require Face ID. It's a little hidden, but if you
Ah,
do require Face ID, there's two additional modes. The first one is require Face ID, which means if you try to launch the application, you'll have to log in with Face ID. Some apps do this
I like
automatically,
that.
like finance apps in general.
I like it. I bet you those finance apps still make you do it twice though if you turn that on.
Yeah, it definitely will. Now, the other thing is that the the app content in that once you do it will not appear in notification previews or spotlight, so it's kind of like you're hiding things. The
Hmm.
other thing is that you can say hide and show it. So what's interesting about this is that the app will no longer be visible on your iPhone except for in a few places such as settings, and the
That's
only way to see them is with Face ID or your passcode to reveal them, like in a special area to hide them. So it turns off a bunch of other things. So, like, for example, I put all my financial apps inside of it, and then it won't show it until I think it's doing until you
hmm
tap on it, and then it does a face unlock. So what happens is
nice.
it puts it in the bottom right, and you have to tap on hidden face unlock to even see the apps on your phone, right? So I put my finance apps in there. So it's like an additional layer of protection, which is pretty fascinating. It's also if like you really don't want to use an app, like let's say you're addicted to social media, you want to put your X app in there, it really hides it
Oh, I
from your
gotta look at
screen. Yeah.
it. I like this feature. I have to say, like, I liked it more in the beginning when you first started describing it. More security, generally good. Yeah, there's apps. But then I started thinking, who am I protecting this from? Some random person picking up my phone, or my loved one, or my kid. Like the dog can't unlock the phone, so I don't have to worry about the dog. Um, so I just started thinking, like, who's this feature for? And then it reminded me, oh yeah, iOS still doesn't have multi-user accounts. You know, Apple, you could solve a lot of these problems by having
Yeah.
multi-user accounts on the iPhone. Let someone else log into my phone if my dog wants to log into my phone, or my loved one, but probably my dog. Then we wouldn't need. I I like the security in case someone gets a hold of my phone, but they shouldn't be able to unlock my phone in the first place. So it's a cool feature. I like security, but at the same time, I'm like, who is this for?
Heather was asking the same thing, and she was like, "Well, why would you need to do that?" And I said, "Well, the only thing I can really think of is in the two instances. One instance where your phone is unlocked already, and someone swipes your
Hmm.
phone and keeps it
Fine.
unlocked. The
Low
other
probability,
instance,
but fine. Yeah.
the other instance is if you were to ask if you are trustworthy, and you ask someone to take a photo of you, there's only
Uh,
one proper way of doing that, which is doing and unlocking the camera from the home screen, which only unlocks the camera app, right?
hmm
And only
hmm
shows you photos that you just took. But
hmm
if you're a person that decides to unlock your device completely and enter the camera mode and hand your device to somebody else, now they could
Okay.
be taking a photo of you and or completely stealing all your information. So that would be the other instance where you have given someone else the device there.
Yeah.
Else, yeah, there's probably not really
You're
another
getting
use case
strenuous here,
for it.
buddy. Yeah,
Yeah.
because look, there's a billion of these phone things, iPhones and phones around everywhere. I get if there's even a small probability of it, it probably happens a lot. So like Apple
Yeah.
has to deal with this kind of stuff. But it is weird, and I'll just repeat myself and just give us multi-user accounts also, Apple,
Yeah.
because I feel like that had to be part of this decision of. Whatever, maybe there's a shared phone between kids or something like that, and they all
Yeah.
want their own data.
And I think that the hidden apps make a lot of sense to me because it's like apps that I don't want like really visible on my phone, or like apps that I don't want
Well,
to use a lot. But then the question is like, why is it on your phone? You know what I mean? So
well, they already had. You can already remove apps from the home screen, but keep the app installed, and then it's only
yeah,
available through search and whatever that insane right hand screen is called. Um, but yeah, no, I the security's okay. I'm a lucky person, and I don't allow anyone else to touch my phone. So
yeah,
I guess it's just not for me.
yeah. Besides that, the other things I've tried out so far, I am interested in using the hiking stuff on the new maps, but I haven't used it yet. I'd say the other thing that I've noticed, which we've talked about, which is the passwords app, which is taking all the passwords that were hidden deep in menus and putting them into one app. And they also have shared passwords. I could create a shared password group with Heather,
Oh,
for example, for our
mhm.
shared accounts, or if I get hit by a car, she might need access to them, for example. Now, the one thing I haven't tried is that they say you can sync your passwords now between your iPhone, iPad, Mac, Vision Pro, and Windows with the iCloud app for Windows. How do I get that iCloud app? I think
Oh,
it's in the store.
you should have it. Yeah, because a few other things come with it.
Yeah.
Uh, I've been enjoying the Passwords app. It's felt
Yeah.
silly for the last 5 years going to Safari preferences or going to settings and searching for passwords and always clicking the wrong return thing. So life has been a lot better with the Passwords app. I'll still say all the normal problems that they've always had with password management still apply. It's a better
Yeah.
UI. It's in an app. That's nice, but you can't have just like the old contacts problem, how you'll have duplicate contacts and missing contacts with missing information. All of that is still there in the password glory. Um, but at least it's in an app now, and you can go through your passwords and try to clean them up, even though it's absolutely insane. But
Yeah.
for instance, I was trying to log in because when you update your phone, you get logged out of every service. So you use the passwords app a lot when you
Yeah.
boot up iOS 18. And it still took me a good 30 minutes to get my Roomba logged into and all that kind of stuff because passwords had three different passwords for the website. I had
Yep.
to do a password reset, and guess what it did? Created a fourth. So that
Yep.
was fun.
I had that for UPS. Literally, UPS. I got logged out and it wouldn't do it. This whole thing, I had to it did the same thing you did, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Like, I'll do this other thing. I'll reset it." And then finally, it worked.
Yeah.
But I had that. Now, the problem I have is that I have my passwords in my passwords app. I have it in the Edge
Right.
browser. I have it in Chrome
Right.
browser, and then I have it in the Authenticator app. So it's like I got passwords everywhere. So the
I
problem I
know.
have is like none of my passwords are in sync. So like I'm always just trying different combinations of like I'm like I need to pick
Yeah.
one and go with it. You know what I mean? But it's a legacy. Almost nothing is in Google passwords anymore. So I should probably just
Well,
delete all those, but like get them out and just in just one thing.
sounds like you need to download that iCloud app and try passwords out on
I'm
Windows.
doing it.
Yeah,
I just downloaded it. All right.
but that is a problem. Like literally every service out there has a key store for you to
Yeah.
use, so you just gotta settle on one. Um,
Yeah.
it's too bad though because I don't think Passwords supports. They're not like an authenticator app. They can't do any of the fun encryption stuff where it generates, the time dependent code and you can log in. I don't think it does any authenticator, that kind of authenticator stuff. It's just a database, an
Gotcha.
unorganized, fragmented database.
Yeah. Anything else in iOS 18 that you're using? I'm scrolling. I don't really see a lot that I'm using. Anything
Well,
you stumbled
I get a
upon?
I get a little bit confused what's a iPhone 16 feature and what's an iOS 18 feature, but did you know you can focus the what am I trying to say? The flashlight. You can change the beam width of the
Oh,
flashlight.
oh, that's cool.
That is kind of fun. But that might be an iPhone 16 feature. But
Hmm.
the UI is cute. Of course, it's cute. Apple made it. Hilariously, the UI does not work with the scrolly part on the iPhone, or at least I couldn't get it to. But I don't know. I never knew I needed this feature. It's good to have something that delights you. We'll get into the intelligence stuff, but this one was just one of those little, oh, cute, little smile on your face kind of thing. So I think you might, everyone, go spend thousands of dollars so you can get a focusable flashlight on your phone.
I like that. That's pretty cool. I don't. I have the thing where you can just adjust the brightness, but not necessarily the beam.
Right, right. The brightness came in. Can you do the tone? Did they allow us to adjust the tone? I think might be on your phone also.
I
They're
don't think
used
so.
a couple different colors there, but things change. Who knows?
Yeah.
There are other things, but most of the stuff I've been noticing are around intelligence because otherwise it was a pretty standard upgrade. I do appreciate the new colors. Thanks, Apple.
Yeah. I like it. I
I
like
do.
it.
What one thing they, of course, they always reorganize the settings app. All apps are now on a second screen of the settings app, and it's funny what they've decided to put over there, and not like I was looking for the mail settings forever before I realized, oh, they put their own mail app under all us, all us third party developer apps. So that's kind of fun. They put their own app in the list, so they're eating their own UI instead of no.
Yeah. I like
We'll go
that.
with that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I just installed the iCloud app. I now installed the passwords extensions for Edge and
Ah.
Chrome and the sync
Mhm,
passwords.
mhm.
I can sync my bookmarks. Oh, that's interesting.
You're deep in
Let
now,
me get
buddy.
that. Now there's an extension called iCloud Bookmarks, which I'm going to install, and I can sync
Oh,
bookmarks.
boy.
That's really fascinating. I can merge them. I'm just clicking buttons. Sync calendars and contacts. Sure. Share
Okay.
iCloud Analytics. Finish setup. All right, let's do it.
Love
Oh
it,
yeah, things
love
are
it.
happening. Oh my gosh. It's
1
installing
hour
a bunch of
later.
stuff. I have no idea. Oh my gosh, things are happening. This is crazy. This is pretty cool. Okay, so that's pretty cool. That's not bad. I'm impressed. That's nice. Okay.
Can we talk about the real thing yet?
Yeah. The actual the now this part is iOS 18 plus new iPhones or iPhone 15 Pro, and you got to be on beta. So this is the part where MKBHD said, I can't talk about it yet. He said I installed it, the Apple Intelligence beta. He's like, I can't even get into it yet. And he's going to do a whole separate video. He literally spent
Mhm,
30 seconds on it. But I want to talk about your experience getting into the beta, if there's any quirks, and
mhm.
what you've done so far. It's only been a few days, but even
Yeah,
in a few days of iOS 18, I already got thoughts. So I'm hoping that you got some thoughts, and I'm excited to hear. So what you got for me, Frank?
I do. I can never outdo MKBHD though, so we'll just all watch this video at some point. No. Uh, did you know, James, it is an 8 gigabyte upgrade, so it is a big upgrade to go from 18.0 to 18.1. If you're a developer out there, go grab it. Honestly, it's pretty stable and everything like that, so I wouldn't worry about the point 1 upgrade. And it magically enables a waiting list so that you can join Apple Intelligence.
No.
Ooh, I'm so excited to have an intelligent phone. I just waited for 8 gigabytes to download and install. I'm so excited. And you scroll and it's called like Apple Intelligence and Siri. You're like, yes, and it's purple. James, did you know that like pink to purple gradients is the signifier for AI? That's how you know it's AI now. So there was a
Yeah.
button that had a pink to purple gradient on it. I'm like, that's AI. I clicked it and it said, do you want to join the waiting list? I'm like, yeah, man. I've been waiting years to join this waiting list. I was a little bit sad. I thought the waiting list
Hmm.
was going to take absolutely forever. It turns out it was a very quick waiting list, thankfully.
Whoa. Amazing.
So, like within a half hour, or let's call it a
Oh,
half hour, I was in. No problem. I don't. Is no one upgrading? No one downloading 18.1? Everyone, go download 18.1. It's a trip. You're gonna
wow.
want to see this.
I
So
was
I
I was
was a
about
little
to
bit
get
sad.
I was about to get super sad 'cause I was like, the podcast is over. But yeah.
Yeah. No, James, I was about to text you and say, we can't do it, man. We're going to miss our first episode forever. I'm waiting. I'm on the wait list. But no,
Wow.
they let me in. And then you know what you do? You download something. Who knows what you're downloading because the progress bar doesn't fully work yet or anything.
Models.
Models, hopefully models. I'm surprised it didn't ship with it though. I thought the upgrade was 8 GB because it would include a couple models here or there, but no,
Yeah.
you download them. I was also curious if it was doing any indexing, but I believe my answer is no, and I'll talk about why I think that in a little bit.
Okay.
But after just a little bit of wait, you are given an onboarding screen. I know you love onboarding screens,
Love it.
and they tell you about all the new features it has, all two of them. So, and somehow they
Nailed
turn
it.
that into 8 pages. So the biggest feature I think we all wanted is Smart Siri. I think that's kind of the biggest thing because Siri's been a little bit long in the tooth for the last decade or so. So, at least speaking for myself, that's the one I was most interested in. They talk about that. Siri is more conversational now, they say. And Siri, some poor intern must have uploaded 8,000 tutorial videos because Siri can now explain how any feature on your iPhone works.
Wow.
I'm sorry, intern. I'm sorry. I'm sorry they put you through that because there's a lot of videos there, a lot of things to go look at. And then the biggest other feature are the writing tools. So, out of all those topics, James, which shall we dive into first?
I guess, well, let's just talk about Siri and the new Dingus because it has that
It's
really
new.
cool glowy animation thing that is the indicator that Siri's ready to party. And I'm kind
Dingus
of
is ready to party.
the Dingus
Yep.
is ready to party. So in said, this is my problem with
Okay.
asking dinguses to do things is it needs to it needs to be able to do it faster than I can go do it. So for example, if I was
Yes.
like set my iPhone to dark mode, right? Like it needs to be faster than me going into the settings and doing that, for example, right? But I mean, I guess that's a
And
general use case. Like, what have you asked that dingus to do yet?
oh, I have a pretty standard question I ask every AI. It's how I
Hmm.
establish if it's an AI or not. My question is always, "Hey, Dingus, tell me something smart," because I just
Okay,
want to
yeah.
see what does it think something smart is. And Smart Siri's response was, "Aw shucks." In other words, it completely misinterpreted my request. I asked it to tell me something interesting, and it thought I was complimenting it. So it was a bit of a stumble as you're starting off the race kind of problem.
Hmm.
So I was a little bit sad at that. And what it led down a path of discovery was they don't really do generative AI, like what we think of as text generation. So
Yeah.
although they tout Siri as more conversational, it it's not like a chat GPT. You can't sit there and just talk about your childhood and have it pretend to care. So it's not like that. But UI improvements are there. It does seem to keep some kind of context or something. But I think Apple sadly has still missed the mark on this one. I think all of our expectations have been set very high nowadays,
Hmm.
and I think it's hard for them to compete. Perhaps in the future, it'll be updated, but right now, this is not what I was hoping for in a smart Siri. But that said, that colorful pink to purple gradient around the phone looks pretty good. So sad, sad for me.
I feel as though right now, because I'm looking at the Apple Intelligence page and the things that they show, they say specifically the dingus is equipped with more awareness of your personal context, the ability to take action across apps, and product knowledge about your device's features and settings. It doesn't, although it says it's an all new superpower in
Mhm.
general, and
Yeah.
it has rich language understanding. This isn't the OpenAI integration for GPTs. Well, the things that they show is asking it get directions home, play road trip classics, share ETA with Chad. I don't know whoever Chad is. And they also have one like set an alarm for 5 minutes or whatever. But to me,
But
those are
these
things that
are,
like you could do already.
yeah, that's the problem. You could do all that already. Um, I asked it. There's always been a glaring lacking feature on iPhone. You can't set a sunrise alarm. All alarms have to be on a certain time.
Mm,
So I was just curious. I'm like, come on, Smart Siri, you can do this. I said, Dingus, set a recurring alarm for sunrise. And it set an alarm for 7 a.m. So remember, we did a whole episode on me defining intelligence and skills and trying to distinguish between them. This one seems to lack both. It lacks intelligence and
I
skill.
I guess could you ask it like so in on the Mac it's showing and on the iPad it says like show files June sent me last week. Can you
Right.
ask it to thinking from like iMessage? So one thing in iMessage is an example. In iMessage, I always want to find specific things like an address or something else. Like, can you go into the Dingus right now and say, um, can you show me? I'm trying to think of a good prompt. Like, can
Well,
you
I can
show
give you an
me?
example.
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
Because it was literally my second question was, Dingus, please summarize the last week's emails. That's the
There you go. Yeah.
feature. Someday I want that feature. I'm sad to report that did not work.
Oh.
But as a good consolation prize, it did show me the last weeks of emails real quick, like no opening the app or anything. So that got me curious and I tried other queries, show me the last four emails from James or,
Yeah.
those kinds of simple natural language queries, but require access to the database. And it was able to do a lot of those. So I'd say that at least is a nice feature because quite often when I'm going into the mail, I don't actually want to read my inbox. I'm going to find an email
Yeah.
someone sent me or something like that. So if I can do a quick search for that, that's a plus. I will like that. Now I am. It's a in the onboarding. They're very clear to say they are rolling out features still. So
Mm,
I haven't actually given up hope on my please summarize the last week's worth of emails because we'll get into it, but I know they can do summarization. Like it's
okay.
one of its features. So I think it's just a matter of them hooking up all the UIs and everything. And to be clear, this is still a beta. They're still releasing these features bit by bit. Um, I think it does have better app integration. Of course,
Hmm.
it's app dependent too, whether you have Siri shortcuts and all that.
I just got back from being gone for 3 weeks, and
Hmm.
like going back to work was one of the first experiences where I got to trial Copilot in a different way, which really in Teams and the Teams Copilots, it was very helpful because, for example, I miss meetings, but also
Yeah.
there's large chats and group chats. And the cool part is like when you go into a chat, into a thread, there's literally a button that says it's a Copilot button that says like, catch me up on what I missed. And then a
Yeah.
Copilot opens and I went into our team chat. So me and the Hanselman team, all this other stuff. And I said, catch me up. And it gave me like a
Hmm.
bullet list of five. And I said, can you show me
Love it.
more things? And I said, show me the top 10 things that I missed. And it's to things. I said, can you show me a list of action items? Not just like what was
Nice.
discussed, but
Yeah.
show me action items. And it was like, oh, Scott said to do this to this person. This also this is cool. And then I could ask it to go deeper on these things.
Yeah.
It was the same thing in Outlook where I could basically summarize these big emails and these because sometimes it's one email, I can parse it. But if it's been a conversation of like 10 emails in a thread,
Hmm.
at the top of it, I could say, summarize this thing, right? And I could decide if like I could ask it questions. So my question to you is, can you bring up the dingus only like randomly or like could you be an iMessage right now? And then is there like a dingus button if you're like on a thread with me where you could like ask
Well,
questions or no?
there's not like a graphical UI button.
Mm.
There is a physical button if you choose to map your button
Oh,
to
okay.
Siri. The problem is you can remap that button to a lot of things. Like I have it
Mm.
set to the flashlight because um, there are still trigger words. So they've simplified "Hey Dingus" to just "Dingus." So you can just say "Dingus, do this." So it's funny how that one syllable actually helps out.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to have more inline tools. But we can talk about that because they did add inline tools, but not of the type that you're talking about, as in go query my data. All that is James, and go discover some information.
Can you go into your Dingus right now and can you ask
Hmm.
when when is the next Merge Conflict podcast recording?
I will mute myself real quick, so entertain
Okay.
everyone.
Okay. I'm entertaining people, entertaining people. Frank's talking to his phone. And there you go.
I found this on the web.
So
Oh,
standard Siri fallback web search.
oh okay.
Uh, Dingus still has its two big fallbacks: Wikipedia and Google,
Okay.
and it will still do both of those, sadly.
And the
So,
reason I was
like I
asking
said, it's
this, the reason I was asking this is because Frank and I have a calendar invite, which is merge conflict recording, right?
right.
It should find that. It should
Specifically,
know.
specifically though, I don't think that they're indexing app information right now in this
Oh,
version.
I
It will
see.
be a feature though, but in this version, I don't believe that they're
Okay.
doing that, or at least they
Okay.
said it's coming soon. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this
Wi-
feature, not great. Let's get to the other feature then. Screw this feature.
okay.
We're over it. We're done with it. Talk about what else can you
A
what
little
else
bit
can you
sad.
what can you actually do? Can you create a Dolly 3 image, I guess, in this thing? Are we in like
Oh,
2030?
actually,
Are we in
no,
2023 AI? What is going on here, Frank?
no, we're not even because
Oh
that's coming
no.
soon too. That's not implemented yet. It was actually a little bit. Sorry, I don't mean to brag on this thing the whole time. Thank you, Apple, for implementing AI features. Here's my complaints. I asked it, show me all my pictures from the beach.
Perfect.
Seems I'm pretty sure iPhotos has had that query for the last 5 years.
Beach.
I'm throwing them a softball. I'm like, hey, smart Siri, softball here. Show me beach. It does like a Google image search for beaches. And I'm like,
Ah.
no, I mean, those people look happy, but that's not me. I wasn't happy there. I remember that. So it was a little bit sad. Like, I think what we all want is the AI to help us personally.
Yeah.
I think that's our overarching theme here is it's not doing that yet, but I still have faith. I have faith because Apple's all about privacy and indexing. It's just indexing, just get
It,
all that
it,
junk indexed.
this is a beta. There's the what they say on the website is not what's in the product yet. I'm basing it what's on the website, and I'm not basing
Yeah.
it here. I guess. Can you do like Copilot things? Can you ask it to rewrite the
Okay.
message to be friendlier?
Here's the part that works, and this is a part that works well. So
Okay.
Apple did well here. So every text box in iOS, and I mean every text box, even Kelka I bring up because I have abused that text box like you wouldn't believe, and it still works in there. So I can tell you if it works in Kelka, it's going to work in all the apps. So in every text box, if you do your tap thing that you would normally do to like copy text or whatever, there's writing tools.
Okay.
And writing tools include a proofreader editor, four different ways to rewrite your thing,
Okay.
a way to convert it from modalities, so from list to text, text to list, table to list. Who cares? Modalities of text.
Yep.
Don't do that, people. Just whatever. So the bit I was it sounds boring, and in a lot of ways it is boring, but I love the proofreader because it's like the 1999 Microsoft Word grammar corrector, but it works.
Okay.
Like
Nice.
every change it wants to make, you're like, yeah, oops, my bad. Yeah, oops. Like there's nothing it ever wants to change that you're like, oh no, you're totally changing my meaning there. So I found the proofreader and it catches all the littlest things. Like I brought up some of my old blog entries just to see what it would do to them. And I'm like, oh, I'm embarrassed by the things that like it wants to fix. I'm like, okay, proofreader, you're good. It's a boring feature, especially in this generative world where we can make anything. But you know what? That is a benefit to humanity, having an actual quick editor for a document that works pretty well. I usually abuse my friends for that, so this is nice.
That's good. I like that. I think that's a good, let's get the base AI features that
Yeah,
everyone can benefit from and then go from there. I do believe, and I'm very fascinated when all the other Chat GPT things and other image generation stuff and
the
composing and other
generative
things will come in.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, how that will do. Because, I found that really fascinating. Like we were talking about is taking a document and saying, generate this thing off of it, or taking a recording or this podcast and saying, can you generate this summary that turns into something? Like, I've been
Yeah.
definitely using that. And, you know, I got to say, we got to give them time. And obviously, we're going to do lots
Hmm.
of deep dives into Apple Intelligence as it continues to roll out. But at the same time, it's, expectations are high. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'd say like I've had, for example, like the Microsoft Editor tool installed like
Yeah.
on my browser extension. It does a bunch of nice things. It's not AI generated. It's like just
Hmm.
normal like review
Good
stuff.
old, yeah,
But
Word stuff. Yeah.
now inside of Word, it's like I've been doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we're on wave 2 of Copilot at this point. So it's like, okay, like let's get it going,
Right.
Apple.
So let's get into the generative stuff. Some of the parts where they actually are rolling the dice a little bit, doing a
Let's do it.
probabilistic generation. So they have 4 rewrite modes. One is just called rewrite. I have no idea what the intention is there, because proofreading is separate from rewrite. I don't get it.
Mm,
I don't get what rewrite does, but there's 3 variations on rewrite. Rewrite informally, casually, rewrite professionally, and rewrite concisely.
okay.
And yeah, so these are a couple year old AI features, but these are the good ones. I like these. I honestly have very mixed feelings about using them in practice, because I tried translating a few of my blog entries, from to casual to professional to concise. I'll say this: professional, terrible. Don't rewrite anything in it. It's so boring. Like, I think their metric was boringness for rewriting into professional style. Concise seems weird to me also because it really just turns into like poorly written English, in my opinion.
Mm,
There is a summarize mode. That one's way better. So concise, dumb. Professional, dumb. Casual, nice. It's actually kind of nice.
nice.
It adds a pleasant little tone, or at least the AI's tone matches a tone I often try to strike in my own writing. And so that one actually works out pretty well for me, but I don't really like the other modes very much. But
Okay.
casual, yeah. I already write casually though, so like translating my casual style of writing to casual, I don't know where that's going to go.
I'm wondering if they'll get to the point, and maybe this is like the Chat GPT thing that needs to be introduced, is like in that instance, like Copilot does those things as well. But you could also, for example, like ask Copilot or ask Chat GPT to rewrite this and talk more about this feature
Ooh.
or talk about this thing more. Like
Mhm.
basically, like I've had it rewrite different instances and say, okay, now take this, and then you have this context, right? You have the original context. You're near actually talk more about this specific thing. So,
I like that. Yeah.
uh, or like, can you, you know, add a bulleted point list about these things? But you know what I mean? Like, so I would love to
Mhm.
see it do that, but I'm interested in
Higher
like what that
level.
looks like. Yeah, I'm interested to see what that looks like on a phone versus on a desktop. You know what I mean? That's a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, they're constraining themselves to a little window at the bottom that's roughly the size of the keyboard,
Yeah.
which can be a little bit awkward because depending on, the UI, the app you're working in, like sometimes they'll preview the regenerated text at the bottom, sometimes they'll preview it at the top, and so you have to look around a
Hmm.
little. It is a constrained UI environment. I would say they did a pretty good job there. It's funny, even poor Apple that knows every single thing about UI kit, they still get it wrong all the time too, because as it's generating, there's bad refreshes in the text view, and text will
Mm,
overlap. It'll lay out incorrectly. It'll just buggily scroll. There's still nasty things Apple's figuring out from a UI level. But I will applaud them for trying to getting it to work in every text box and every app because that is useful. It's a hard problem. They're constrained to that little UI at the bottom, and they're constrained by the app's UI that they're really not
yeah.
in control of. Okay, so the features aren't that impressive, but their rewriting demonstrates that they do have a generative UI. And I've by rewriting, you can almost prompt it. Like there's ways to
Yeah.
kind of trick it into generating more text than I think Apple would be comfortable knowing. So like you can get it to somewhat act like a generative AI, but so far Apple has just been not ready yet to release their own Oracle. not trademark, copyright, lowercase
All
and
right.
local.
All right. I think this is good. I mean, I'm so, MKBHD, for example, like not talking about Apple Intelligence, but on just the phone, right?
Hmm.
He first said that actually the iPhone 16 is now so much closer to the Pro that it's even hard to even justify a little bit for the Pro upgrade. Cause
Yeah.
just because like the iPhone 16 has, really good camera upgrades, 8 gigs of RAM. The only real difference is like the refresh rate and obviously some camera features. But at the same time, he was like, if you don't have it, and if you have an older than an iPhone 13, there's not a
Hmm.
huge reason to upgrade. That being said, it does not going to have Apple Intelligence. So if you don't have 15 or 16, you're not going to have Apple Intelligence in the Pro models. But I think that ends up becoming like the question is, will this at some point drive more adoption of the newer phones or not? And I'm interested to see where it goes and if it can be helpful, because on the Apple Intelligence page, like a lot of these things, I've always said AI just needs to feel integrated. I don't want it to be a
Yeah.
chat box that I need to ask it stuff. Like, be in the apps, do the stuff, which is why, granted, I work for Microsoft, the Copilot inside of Office, inside of Teams, inside of M365, like inside of Outlook, like it just works. And some of that stuff in Apple Intelligence is there. Like I'm seeing smart replies and I'm seeing these other things. It's there. Like being on every text box is good, right? It needs to
Yeah.
be deeply integrated. And it sounds like right now, Siri is that miss until it gets ChatGPT, where some of the other features deeply integrated might end up working better in what they have to offer. So I'm fascinated to see where it goes.
Yeah, and I keep forgetting to bring that up. Apple advertised they're gonna partner with other companies and release that. I don't love that. I really wish Apple would just run their own generative. Like, yeah, I'm already paying for OpenAI. That's nice. I would like to have variety. I would like to have Apple's AI to bounce
Yeah.
things off of because ChatGPT, Claude, none of them are perfect. I've used them
Yeah.
all, and they all stink in some way, and they're all fun in some way. So, I think more variety is good. But also, like we've been saying all along, expectations have just been raised.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think this version right now is not selling itself. So you said, how will word of mouth go? Well, I'd be able to convince everyone to upgrade to an iPhone 16 because these features are so awesome. You can't live without them. Nah, we're not there yet, sadly. Maybe when that mail summarization works, then maybe I'll be like, no, you have to upgrade. But for now, the biggest upgrade is the USB-C port.
There you go. All right. Well, Frank, thank you so much for going through the process, trying it all out. And let us know, folks, if you've tried iOS 18, if we missed some stuff, maybe we need to go. There's stuff buried. We'll be uncovering stuff for a
Well,
while.
yeah.
But if you've tried Apple Intelligence on your devices, let us know, right? And go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/at mergeconflict.fm. And then, of course, you can just find those links from mergeconflict.fm as well and in the podcast. Make sure you subscribe, like, do all those things. We super appreciate it. But that's going to do it for this week's Merge Conflict hands-on with a bunch of previews and goodies to try out on your new devices. So until next time, I'm James Montemagno.
And I'm Frank Kruger. Thanks for watching and listening.
Peace.